we'll introduce you to head coach of Arkansas women's basketball, Kelsi Musick. And this is also a little bit of an introduction from me, Coach Musick, and from Matt Jones. Nice to have you here on our Lewis Automotive Group hotline. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
We're great. Really excited to join you along for this ride with your program. I'll be sitting just a few seats next to you at the scores table doing the play-by-play. And, man, I mean, if I were to remember one thing about watching your team this last year, it's exactly what you said. Your team played with a lot of passion when they beat the Razorbacks at Bud Walton Arena this year, and it certainly appears that you arrived on Hunter Yurichek's radar that day, too. That was a big day, but it was also a long time ago, and it must feel a little surreal today now to be the coach of the Razorbacks.
Definitely surreal. We played here, like you said, back in the fall, but to be able to be sitting here, to be on campus as the new head coach, it's surreal, and it's a blessing, and just filled with a lot of excitement.
Coach Matt Jones here. Congratulations and welcome to the family. How long did the process take from whoever, if it's your agent, his agent, the phone call, how long did the total process take to becoming the head women's basketball coach?
It was actually a very quick process. I'm assuming my agent had conversations prior to, but once it really got going, it was about maybe a week. It was really quick, so didn't take too much time. But like I said, I know my agent probably had some conversations prior to that at some point.
So I mean, it's been a huge few days. Obviously, I mean, you've said goodbye to one program and the people around it. You've joined another program and been introduced. I saw outstanding photos yesterday from the press conference. So, I mean, I don't know which day you would say is the first day on the job, if it's when you get introduced, or is it today? And then what are the steps you plan on taking today?
Well, my family and I arrived on Sunday. I would say more, it was kind of introductory and just, being able to be on campus, to do some photos and whatnot. But then yesterday, the press conference, and yesterday after that, it was, there was something to do all day. There's always something. There's a lot right now. I mean, I think the biggest thing is constructing my staff. It is spring break, so that does make it difficult to talk to the players that are on the current roster, and making sure we figure out the retainment of those players potentially. So, spring break kind of throws a kink in that, but still talking to some of them, working through those things. Obviously, the portal opened, so that's a big move in the recruiting world as well. So, I mean, I think the list could go on and on. I don't want to take up all your time with the list of things that I have to do.
Coaching it's a calling, and when did you know you wanted to be a head coach and the passion to help young people? What got you into being to coaching?
My mom was a high school coach, and I've grown up in a gym. I didn't really, when I went to college and I played college basketball, at that moment, I didn't really think, hey, I'm going to college to coach. But I remember when I played my last college game, and we made it to the national tournament for the first time in school history at Cameron, and I didn't want to take off my jersey. I knew in that moment I wasn't done with the sport of basketball, and I knew that the only avenue at that point to be able to still be around it, impact players, to use my passion, my knowledge, was to coach. And from that day forward, that's pretty much all I've done. Hunter asked me a question in the interview process. So, what if you didn't coach, what would you do? And I don't know what else I would do. This is what I feel like God put me on this earth to do, and to be a coach, to be able to fulfill, not only my dreams, but my calling. And I feel led to be passionate about that. Passionate about helping young women grow on and off the floor. So that moment in that locker room, I say, is my defining moment.
You're going to fit in around here, certainly at least on this show, as far as people who don't know what the heck else they would do if they weren't doing what they're doing. I'm the same way. I think Matt's the same way. There's a word you use there, and I think when you are programmed like that in your own mind, it's all about passion, and I hear that word in a lot of your interviews. And passion sometimes can be like a buzzword that some folks don't really know what that's about. What does passion mean to you?
passion to me is an energy, an effort. It's a love. It's, I don't just want to coach. I need to coach. I don't want to just help players. I need to help them. So I think it just goes a little bit deeper than surface value. I think passion is also displayed in the way I coach, the intensity that I coach with, and then I think that it helps pull more out of my players. It helps them start to believe in themselves and their abilities, in our team, in our culture, in our program. So I just think passion is a very broad word, but I think it's a deep word when used appropriately.
Earlier, you mentioned the portal, and we have a lot of conversation on this show about recruiting high school players to recruiting portal players. How do you find that good mix? What kind of players are you looking for?
First of all, we have to evaluate our current roster, and that's something, I'm in the process of watching film. It's also a matter of making sure those players and I can form a good relationship. So I think that's at the forefront. But at the same time, like I said, they're on spring break, so that makes it extremely difficult. In the portal, as we go through our roster and we're like, hey, these are the players, we're potentially able to retain, then we have to fill spots. So I think the thing is, I can't just recruit, oh, that player's a good player. I also have to recruit to the system, and that's one thing that I do a little bit different because I run the dribble drive. It's important that I recruit players that fit those positions in order for it to really flow and be able to be executed at the highest level. So making sure that we recruit players that fit the spots that we need. So it's a process right now as we're building, retaining players, getting in the portal, finding players that fit the spots that we need, and then obviously potentially keeping the signees that they currently had.
Well, you just used a word that I thought I might ask about. Your team this last year at ORU averaged 68 field goal attempts per game. That's top 10 in the nation in shooting attempts. And then you just dribble drive. That's obviously a big way of how you do it. Describe your offense and how you like to score.
So it definitely transition. We want to get out and run. Our goal is to average over 80-plus points a game. My team last year at ORU, we were in the top 10 in the nation in scoring. So that's definitely a goal. Part of that is, like you said, getting extra shots off. So forcing the issue to get to the rim, sharing the ball. I think the one thing that we have to do better is, making more threes. I think that's a huge part of the offense. So everything's keyed off the dribble. Spacing is key. Making sure that you have proper space as you're attacking the rim, and then as soon as we dribble, then that's going to keep movement from their teammates so they know where to be. The other thing with this offense is, we want to share the responsibilities of scoring. We don't want to just, ideally, one or two players will have good nights here and there, but at the end of the day, in an ideal world, we would like at least 5+ players averaging double digits, which makes us, I think, a lot harder to guard and a lot harder to stop. So forcing the issue, getting to the rim, being able to finish at the rim with contact, selectively shooting some mid-range for those that are really good at that. But, getting to the rim and knocking down that three ball is going to be key for us and playing at a high pace.
It also wouldn't be fair to just talk offense. What are the things that you adhere to defensively for your teams?
I want my teams to be gritty. Obviously, my teams have been known in the past, and since I've been coaching for my high octane offense and scoring abilities. But we have to be able to get back and guard on the other end. I like to selectively, I call it chaos. It's a full court man-to-man press. That's a little bit different, a little bit chaotic, which I love. Kind of hard to figure out. I'm also not scared to mix it up if we have to run some zone here and there. So I think making changes defensively is something that I've usually done in the past that I think we could do here and be successful at. So obviously man-to-man is the primary defense, selectively full court pressing just to keep the pace up, because what happens is a lot of teams, because I run the dribble drive, they're going to try to slow me down when they get the ball on offense and work the clock. I got to keep the pace up. So there are times when I'm going to have to full court press to make them take a rush shot to keep the pace up, so we can continue to get up and down, which is our style and which is the way we want to play.
Matt, sounds like I better have my head on a swivel.
Woo pig, let's go.
It sounds really exciting. I mean, I'll just work on some neck exercises, Coach Musick, because my head might be going back and forth.
I hope so. If your neck gets a little sore, I'll apologize now.
No apologies. It'll just be sore for a couple of days, then it'll be all strong and everything. It's a family affair too for on this team, right? Is your husband was the strength coach for ORU, right?
Yes, he was my strength coach at ORU.
That's outstanding. And so, I mean, it's a basketball family, right? I mean, it sounds like
all my kids play basketball. Our daughter plays basketball. She's in her senior year, and then Maddox is a fifth grader and Titus is a second grader, and that's all they do. I can't tell you how many shots they've already got up in the practice gym in just the last 48 hours. So it's quite significant. I think we've only been here for 2 days, and we've been back up here about 8 o'clock at night, and they've been back in there shooting shots. So they're going to wear out the nets before the girls get back.
What I know you're from a small town in northwestern Oklahoma. That's not quite in the shadow of the Razorbacks, but it's not very far from Arkansas in the grand scheme of it. Just like your impressions as someone from Oklahoma of Arkansas basketball and how you fit into that here.
I think we're so close. Arkansas and Oklahoma does have some similarities. I mean, obviously, as you drive across the border, unless you see the sign, you might not know which state you're in for a split second. So I think there are a lot of familiarities. I think that I do like the fact that it is still close to my hometown. It's within a driving distance, obviously a little further than Tulsa. But, Arkansas has always been known for high-quality programs in most all of their sports. And definitely I remember it just growing up in women's basketball. They've had some really good teams, so I expect that tradition to continue. I love the fact that they also have football. There's all these other sports that are so big time as well. The men's basketball team is doing so well right now, so it's just an honor and a blessing to be able to be the women's basketball coach here.
Just to close on a thought of just the league that you'll be coming into to coach. And I know you beat a couple of SEC teams this last year at ORU and Mizzou and Arkansas. It's a really tough league. You obviously know that. The SEC this year is making up a whole bunch of teams that are in the Sweet 16 just in women's basketball alone. That's a challenge, but it's a challenge that anybody in your shoes would just be relishing.
Absolutely, a huge challenge. But I always say, if it were easy, everyone would do it. And it's definitely not going to be easy. It's going to be hard, and there's going to be a lot of work and a lot of change and some things that are going to have to take place. But it's just a blessing. I mean, you come from small town Oklahoma, and I've always had big dreams, and that's one of the reasons. I mean, I'd been comfortable at SWASU. I'd been there for a really long time. I was blessed to get to make that move to ORU because of President Wilson and Tim Johnson. But being able to make this move over here for Hunter and Jarita and Taylor and everyone to believe in me, it's just a huge opportunity and a blessing. Will it be a challenge? Absolutely. But, I always feel like, this path I think was destined for me, and I'm excited, like I said, to be able to get to work, to take the challenge head on and to make some changes.
Coach Musick, we appreciate you coming on with us today. I know it's, whirlwind and there's a lot to get to, but these 15 minutes mean a lot to us and to me, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person, being a part of the program, and having you on halftime again sometime too.
Awesome. I can't wait. Thank you so very much.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting on all the madness. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball to a $200,000 bracket contest, BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every Cinderella story to every hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here.